Go listen to anybody else or do what I say or get blocked. Wild. Go listen to anybody else or do what I say or get blocked. Wild. She'll be live tomorrow to talk more shit. But she fell for it. Yes, I purposefully did put out there varying levels of insults towards various creators. But we didn't see Teddy hop on live and say, fuck you. We didn't see Scammy Claus do it. We didn't see... I threw in a jab at Ken. But Boring got Smashly to do it. Hey, Emmons. How are you? When it comes to Smashly, like, blocking you, I would let her, like, process whatever emotions that she were just surging through her over the fact that she was called boring, and hear her out for her eventual apology when she knows that she is effectively proved everything I've said in the last 2 days, and that Smashly wants nothing more than to use the people that watch her. She doesn't care about opposing opinions. Research is wonderful. None of us know everything. I'm doing good, Edmund. None of us know everything. You can't be too proud to go to Google and research a topic. You don't have to research everything, just what piques your interest. If you have an interest in it, well, that research goes deeper. You begin to know so much more about a certain topic. You begin to speak about it in a way that where even those who don't like you and want... I think that's something we're all guilty of. Being able to reflect on yourself and your behavior and to see where you're wrong is nice. But some people can't do that. And that's what my content is going to be about. Is the people that can't control their emotions, the people that want to use the people that follow them as tools. I wonder how many times Smashly has commanded her trained dogs over there to go attack. She can't say it outright. She just wants people to see her so bent, out of shape. Oh, SJ, I went live earlier and I insulted like 8 people at varying different levels and very like different ways. Like, for an example, I insulted Petty, and then I complimented Petty, and then I insulted Petty. Different ways of insulting people, different ways of criticizing people, blatantly insulting people. And I called Smashly boring. And she's the one that took the bait and decided she's going to lose her mind and try to do and take every step that I've been saying about the emotional manipulation and getting people to act without critically thinking to get her people to attack. It must be embarrassing, honestly. It's probably more embarrassing than being called boring. Boring and unintelligent because you fell for it when nobody else did. It shows that not only is she a manipulative individual that don't care about the people that watch her, it also shows that she's against freedom of speech and expression. Because how dare somebody criticize her while her platform is all about criticizing others? Doesn't seem like you're too interested in your own topic there, Smashly. Right, Monster? How something so small can just light the app on fire. It's It is good, though, SJ, it is. It is very good that she did that, because she proved my point. She became the receipt to everything that I've been saying, other than the actual, like, data-driven backed receipts that you can go to Google and you can research. They're there. But she's the receipt in action. And I think it's good to have data-driven receipts that, from credible sources too, that you can find readily available on the internet about behavior, about how people on the internet take advantage of everybody's affect heuristics. That's something everybody has. And affect heuristics is the mental shortcut you take that uses emotion to make you act now. You break your arm, it activates, go to the hospital. Split decision, no thinking about it. That's what people on the app use against the people that follow them. And the people that follow them aren't even aware that that's what it is. That is in our brain to help people. But they're not aware that they're, quote, helping people is them being used. Yes, I've taken a big interest in this topic, SJ. Because the beef on this app never ends. There are people that's been beefing with me for years. And what more do I have to prove to them? Nothing. We've established that I don't like people. We've established that they don't like me. But what they have established is the constant need to continue to watch everything I do. So I established the need to study their behavior and research it and do an incredible amount of reading, take notes, ask questions, get opposing opinions too. Because you can look up like the studies and stuff. Some studies are different because they're done on a different group of people. So you can see other studies that have been done by different people, and you can read the results, not just from one, but from 2 and 3 and 4 and 5. One study isn't all that you need to read. You need to read all of the opinions. So, hopefully, they understand that it doesn't work on me. I have no emotional response at all to whatever Smashley's doing. I have no emotional response whatsoever to anything anybody's saying, because it sets an example. I will sit here calm. I will talk. And I will let everybody else show who they are. And as it's not going to be instant, somebody's going to turn and not like them and do the same thing that they're doing to everybody else to them. And they're going to use what I say about them against them. They're not going to be able to defend it because it is backed by actual scientific study with many, many, many studies out there. It's undeniable for Smashley. It's undeniable for Petty. It's undeniable for everybody. Once you realize that that's what you're doing, though, it's your responsibility to stop, not keep going to silence people, to isolate people. Both. I'm proving causation by calling Smashley boring, an opinion of mine that I'm rightfully allowed to have that's not degrading whatsoever. It is an opinion, it is a criticism, but it's not a degrading, it's not derogatory, it's not name-calling, it's not anything that would reasonably trigger an individual to have the response that they're having. And it correlates with her position on her platform and the control that she deems that she has. And the fact that she put herself in that position to exert power over people, not to entertain, not to inform, not to speak about anything that has any real backing. Everybody should educate themselves, and I advocate for it. I took a screenshot of that book, Monster. I definitely 100% will read that. Probably tonight, honestly. For anybody out there that doesn't take time and read, that's okay. Sometimes reading can seem like it's boring. Sometimes you just don't find enough time in the day to do so. But if you look at the amount of time that you're on TikTok and you take 30 minutes off of that and go read about something that interests you, you'll find yourself reading about that something that interests you far more than yourself on TikTok. Right. And that's a good thing, Monster. And you can tell that, like, I feel bad for Smashly. Because how fragile do you have to be called boring? And that just, like, drives you insane and make you react in such a way. Maybe she should read. Yeah, I am seen on the app as like a barbaric, uneducated asshole, and I like that. That's okay. Like, I don't know everything. I'm not the smartest person in the world. I'm not the smartest person in the room. Okay, there are topics that we all know a little bit more about than one another. There are, I'm sure there's stuff that you know way more about than I do, and Monster too, and Ambi too. Everybody in here knows a lot more about something than I do. That's what makes the diversified opinions good and the diversified people good. Because none of us can know everything individually. But we can all put an opinion in, whether or not it's agreed with the person that you're talking to. You're still allowed to say it. Because if you got 50 people in a room and you have 2 people talking and they're being respectful to one another and they have opposing opinions, those 50 people in the room get to hear both sides clearly. And then nobody has to pick a side. They might pick parts out of yours and then add it to theirs. And then now that's what they believe because it's a good point. Its opinion is based off of how much evidence do we have right now, what we prefer sometimes on some circumstances. My opinion on Smashly being boring was a preference. That's all. It's a preference of content, preference of entertainment. Right. I appreciate that, Nicole. Lived experiences too, yeah. It's a lot of stuff is based off of lived experiences, and there are people that have lived different lives. Just because they make a choice in their life that you might not agree with does not mean that that should automatically shut their opinion off to the room. And I don't know a lot about him, Monster. But the thing is people will take a topic like that and then they would say, well, what would that ever have to do with anything? Well, what it has to do with it is that I could begin, since I'm looking at people's behavior, I could begin to look up the behavior of a serial, your topic. Everything correlates with each other. Everybody has something. You don't look at the overlaying topic of what it is, but you look at what they could be doing. You look at what causes it. You can look at what happened. There's so many things on each topic to look into that you can learn anything and you will never learn everything. Hey, Bougie, how are you? Keeping emotions out of it is tough, SJ. It is. And I have failed at keeping emotions out of it too. I've taken situations where I warped my opinion based off of who it was and how I felt about that person. And I was wrong. Any situation, you take the person out of it and then remove your feelings from it and then look at it. Oh, the recap is just me saying that Smashley fell for it. Earlier in my live, I insulted several different people in several different ways, several different levels, to see who would take the bait. And I called Smashley boring, and she took the bait off that. So that gives me something to talk about how people will take somebody's individual preference and opinion about entertainment and turn around and blow up. How dare somebody criticize her when her content is all about criticizing others? Correct. It is hard when it's people that you care about. Actually, it is. But how I cope with it is very differently. I can't even give a exact way of how I cope with anything. Why I started looking into the behavior and stuff. There was a lot of reasons, because I thought it was weird that Holly Mae would constantly say Bougie is a villain and such a bad person. And I talked to Bougie. I don't have bad judgment of people. She's nothing like they explain. So why is she doing that? So then look up why. Then research why. And then behavior. And then the goal, the motive. What's the incentive? And then it all, 20 hours of reading later, and I figured all of them nasty people out. Right, Bougie. But I'll never hold that against Smashley. When Ratina and Queenie and all them and Viking went to attack Smashley, I 100% did defend her. I was the only one who would get into a box with her. I was the only one who brought any kind of entertainment or jokes to it. But I did it not because I could go later and say, well, look what I did for you. I did it because I wanted to. I did it because I felt it was the right thing. And even though Smashley's an asshole now, if I seen that she was being done wrong, I would still speak out and say that she is being done wrong. It's just how it is. Because you got to take... I'm not even mad that she's doing it. It is what it is. It lets people see who people are. And I'll be that example because I get shit on anyways. What's a couple more people? Yeah, it's the 3, 6, 12 months ago clips. That's just repetitive. That's just to reinforce, because they've socially tagged you as negative, so when they bring you up on their platform, they get a little boost. They get that reward from the interaction, so they think they're doing a good job. They can set the stage to attack somebody. They can set the mood by being like bougie. They've designed and trained their people to listen to commands. And to Holly Mae, when she says bougie, that tells her people to attack. Smash can make any excuse she likes. Honestly. If Smash truly thought that I set her up, why would she ever allow me to defend her afterwards? So by her own logic, she stands for nothing. Wild. What would be better for Smash? What would be better for Smash would be to just calm down and be like, can't entertain everybody. On with tonight's scheduled programming, criticism of somebody else. And Ratina telling people to call the cops, that's just more bad behavior. That's anybody else other than them, they would be shit on. Oh, no. Nobody put that in Malibu's mouth. That's an actual real picture from the live. I have the whole screenshot from the live. I will never reveal the source of who sent me that screenshot, but I have the whole screenshot. Oh, for the CG thing, yeah. Yep, that was wild. That whole situation was wild. And that's why I felt like Smash was being done an injustice on that part, because everybody was trying to blame her. Everybody was trying to blame Malibu. And even at the time, I thought Malibu was boring. I don't have any negative feelings towards Malibu. I don't dislike Malibu, because I don't inherently dislike anybody based off of an opinion of their entertainment value. If you're boring, you're boring. That doesn't mean I hate you. That just means you don't entertain me. But also, you're not put here to entertain me. I don't need to go to a platform and say, you have to entertain me. You have to change. But what I can do is say that the content that they put out is boring. And when I say the content that they put out is boring, I'm not telling everybody else why. I'm not advocating for anyone else to think it's boring. It opens up a discussion to where people can say, well, I like that content. I'm glad that you do it. Or, I don't like that content either. Okay, so we agree. It's okay to agree. It's okay to disagree. Yeah, the whole go in real life and get people's info stuff is weird. Why do people deny it? Like, people deny it like it's something that not literally every person that has been on a live and, been the head of a live has done. Everybody from Smashley to Petty to me to Sunshine to everybody. The only person I can say probably hasn't is probably Snark. I don't believe she has actively gotten anyone's information. I could be wrong, but I'm just saying, I can't say for a fact, but I can say I don't think she has. Monster doxing herself with her grass update. You're right, MMs. It takes way more energy to be angry than it does just to not be angry. I don't know I don't know. I don't know a lot about the Desi stuff. I don't know the details. I haven't paid attention to it. I do know what was said about her. I don't know what she did, and honestly, I don't really care. It's wrong all around. Right? I know SJ. But even if you have gotten people's information before, who are you to judge if you've done it too? Why are you trying to demonize your own behavior and then pretend like you didn't do it? It is wildly inappropriate and fake. They don't believe she had a baby, but they were worried about the baby. Ugh. Well, on the topic of Desi's baby, it is genuinely none of my business about her personal life. People are allowed to exist. If she has a baby, congratulations to her. If she doesn't, okay, congratulations to her. That is harmful, though, when, like, say Malibu says that she doesn't think that she has a baby. What business is that of Malibu's to spread around? What about not going after kids? I believe she told me she had a baby. I believe her. Like, I have no reason to doubt her. There's no incentive for me to pick apart anybody, especially Desi. What do I get out of that? Why are we looking at people and saying, what can I pick apart about you to make into content on the internet? And like I said, it's all about the kids, straight from Holly Mae's mouth. Maybe she should think about the kids when she allows Malibu to, call the police on them. It's all weird. It's all hypocritical. It's all they can do, but if anybody does anything less, then it is twisted, blown out of proportion. Malibu can call the police on somebody, but I can't call Smashley, and Malibu's boring. Go figure. Did Smashley blow up and be like, nope, fuck Malibu? I don't think that Smashley would blow up and say fuck Malibu. But it's blow up and fuck me when I say she's boring. It's wild. It is weird. And to be completely honest, it's not a sign of like people thinking straight. Yeah, 2 days they were so worried. They just had to get up the gumption to do it and figure out, what backlash they were going to get on the internet. Let me just say that if you're concerned about backlash on the internet, there's two things that you can do. One, I get it. Some people, this app, this is their social life. I advocate for that all the time. When people say it's just an app, it's not just an app to some people. You're devaluing somebody out there, their whole social life. There are people that are socially awkward, have social conditions that can't go physically meet people. So when you say that this app is just an app, you're pretty much saying that anybody's social life is nothing to you. So if you worry about what your backlash is going to be, you have to start worrying about why. Are you in some perceived position that you could lose? When you worry about your position on the app, do you worry that you've been fake to be around the people that you're around, and that you'll be exposed, and then the people won't want to fuck with you no more? There's a lot of things to think about for people that have that thought, that worry about their position on the app. Because if you come on the app and you are naturally who you are, you'll find like-minded people. And it ain't nobody's fault but your own if you feel you got to fake it to fit in. That's a recipe to fall out with your friends, especially on this side of the app. When you fall out with your friends on this side of the app, holy fuck, do they go live about you? Yeah, the whole live, hundreds of people. Doesn't surprise me. Nothing can be private. Someone's genuine concern can't be a private matter. It has to be put out in the public, because nobody can do anything out of genuine care. Everybody has to do everything and then make a show out of it and show everybody how much they care. Then it backfires. All for a baby they said wasn't real. This is why I don't watch these lives. It's just too ridiculous. You couldn't write this stuff. It's like going to ChatGPT and saying, write me a script for a TV show and make it the most random bullshit you can. And that's what most of these people's opinions are. They flex. They think this when they feel it'll suit them better publicly. They think that, the complete opposite, when they feel like it will suit them better publicly. Maintaining the platform is not that hard, okay? You don't have to navigate, how many people will like me if I say this. You say it if you believe it. If that's who you are, you say it. The people that disagree with you, they might not watch your content. But there will be others that agree with you that will. And that creates a more inclusive space where people are free to come and go as they please without the, fear of being attacked. Give me 1 second. I can't make that my green screen, because if I go off of this, then the camera will mess up and it'll be like your live ended. And I don't want anybody who happens to be streaming or listening to have to come back. It's a lot of work. It might make their program a little bit more boring. Right. When When you say the baby's fake and then you worry about the baby, you're just making an excuse to cause a ruckus. Stop calling the police on people. Yeah, awareness is an option on something people weren't there for from 3.5 years ago. People also forgot the fundamental step in awareness. Does it interest you? Does the topic interest you? Will this change your mind about something? If the answer is yes, the point of putting up receipts is for people to be able to obtain the receipt and then do their own independent research on it. Each individual. Is the receipts up there enough? Then great. That's satisfied your need for that. Is it not enough? Then you ask yourself, do you care? If you don't care, move on about your business. If you do care, independent research. Talk to all parties involved. Instead of yelling and screaming and, instead of the people that are showing the receipts being like, believe me. It comes off desperate. And when it comes off desperate, and I've done it too, I have put receipts up that I knew was factual and was like, why don't people believe it? Because I failed to realize that feelings were involved for the other party. And we all have to take that into consideration too. We can't isolate people. We can't turn everybody on somebody. We can absolutely let people know the behavior of other people. We can absolutely let people know my behavior, Smash's behavior, Holly Mae, Hetty, everybody. We can let people know about other people, what they do, how they act, what they're doing. But the independent research from each and every individual should be encouraged. Right, Monster? It's good to be able to see like the missteps that we have taken in the past and where we can go forward not doing that or changing it in a way. Will I still put receipts up? Absolutely. But from now on, I'm going to encourage independent research. Does this interest you? Yes. If this isn't enough, do your own independent research. Talk to the other party. Talk to their friends. Talk to me. Talk to anybody. Do what you got to do. Use the conversation as data instead of whatever. Yeah, I am the villain in their story as well. People, that's also the thing too. People need a villain to go the distance. They think a villain is something that they need, but what they don't see is the anger is what drives people in and the numbers up. People love to see it. People consume that kind of content. But it's not healthy content because then guess what? If you don't be absolutely perfect, those same people that were rooting you on to tell everybody to go fuck themselves are going to be the same people that are telling you to go fuck yourself because that's their entertainment. True accountability is it has requirements. The path has to be left open so people can move forward. And accountability is just the change of behavior. If I tell somebody to go fuck themselves and it's offensive, and then I believe it's also offensive, and I believe that accountability is necessary, well, I move forward without telling anybody to go fuck themselves. If you tell somebody to go fuck themselves and they're just being a baby about it, an actually better example, if you tell somebody that they're boring and they're being a child about it, and I don't feel that there needs to be any accountability for calling somebody boring, then I choose to not take accountability for that. And I will move forward to continue to call people boring. It is the people on this app that don't want to see change, that need you to be in a position that you were in. So when they yell accountability and they're watching you get up, they bring up the very thing that they yelled accountability for. They prevent it and they chain you down in that moment in time. Because if you get up and you get past that situation, they lose the power that they felt over you in that time. And they can't lose that power that they feel over you. That's why everything gets brought up a year later. That's trying to chain somebody down in the actions of their past and denying accountability by the same people that are calling for accountability. Yes, karma. 100%. Accountability does change to fit narratives. People do live in the past, Monster. I'll use Monster as an example. Me and Monster were good, and good in a way that we didn't yell at each other at first. We didn't talk, but we had a mutual respect for one another. That was we know we're both a little crazy. So do we really want to poke at each other? That was our mutual respect. But then it was I kind of like Monster, and Monster was I kind of like him. And then, we had a disagreement, and I didn't agree with stuff. She didn't agree with stuff. We fought, we argued, we did our thing, and we did our thing the normal TikTok way. It was just anger back and forth. And then one day, I was like, the boxes are open. Anybody can have a box, have a conversation. Monster was the only one that showed up, and we settled it. Mid-argument, mid-fuck each other. We were able to have that conversation and settle it. And ever since then, I never went back on it. She never went back on it. It hasn't been a flip-flop back and forth thing. It is, she's allowed to exist and make her own decisions, as am I. And we're both respectful of one another of that. You were, Monster, the only one that would come up and speak to me. And you see how quickly that settled. I didn't even ask for any proof that was reasonable. I made a joke out of what I would accept as good. And resolution doesn't come with any demands or any condition. It's just are we done? Because what are we really fighting over? And that's what everybody needs to ask each other. What are y'all really even fighting over? What you mad over? Because I know it ain't me. Some of you, it's me. Some of you, it's me. But I know it ain't me for most of you. If you don't get the opposing opinion, then you're not open to learn. I always try to take boxes with people that I'm beefing with. I have several screen recordings of me getting blocked out of people's lives when people don't want to talk to the opposing party. Their argument cannot hold up to any scrutiny. They have to block any opposing people out of their lives. They have to clean it. They have to create themselves an echo chamber where their opinions can be more easily digested by people who are agreeing with the repetition from the chat as reinforcement. And even though the repetition from the chat is just backup accounts that's saying, yeah, fuck him. Okay? That still does something to people. And then they spread their propaganda. And what happens? Oh no, people don't like me. Whatever will I do? You know what? I can't say anything about that. Sometimes the petty shit on TikTok is fun. But it's only fun when like there's a resolution at the end. Like roast each other, make memes about each other, talk shit about each other, do the funny stuff. But at the end of the day, let there be room for resolution. If we want to make it public, let's make it entertaining. Let's not be so down and disparaging about each other. Let's not be so derogatory towards each other. Make funny memes. With Mallory, Cheetos. Everything was Cheetos. Except for, I did make images and stuff where she was much larger than she is. And I did that with the idea that it was funny. And if that was wrong. So we have to watch, the insults. Definitely got to watch the insults. But that's how we learn. We learn by going through it and by realizing where we were wrong. So if me and Mallory ever argue, yeah, I'll make some memes about her. But they're not going to be memes where I display her as someone who is much larger than she is to make fun of weight. It's going to be about Cheetos. There's Cankles. I stand on every Cankle joke I ever made. That shit was funny. There's Dalton and the Barney stuff. I stand on every single Barney joke I ever made. Like, it is what it is. We need to make it entertaining. So at least we can have some fun with it. She was eating Cheetos tonight. Right, Monster? The resolution is weird. Like, the people not wanting it because they feel like, if I go for resolution, I've lost. No, if we go for a resolution, we all win. It sets an example for people that it's okay to have a little spat, to have a little beef, bring some entertainment to it, and then not hate each other afterwards. The only thing that I can figure out is that people get mad when my jokes are better than theirs. They don't like 100 people laughing at them. Now, when I say resolution, Monster, I mean resolution does not have to be togetherness. Resolution can be, I don't hate you for what you did, but I'm never fucking with you again. That's perfectly fine. It's perfectly acceptable resolution. Resolution can be, and it's person dependent too. Depending on how bad the offense was, you can hate somebody forever and still never fuck with them again. And that can be resolution as long as you're good with that resolution. Now, this TikTok stuff, that's just like the weird TikTok stuff. Like Smashley. I call Smashley boring, and she's like, fuck that motherfucker. Childish. Weird. It's showing signs of Trump, if I'm being honest. I mean, she is orange, just like him. Now, I understand I just called her orange. I just compared her to Trump. But the criticism part is there. Neither likes to be criticized. Must be a thing. But I also don't care if she gets offended by what I say. I take pride that my words put so much emotion and energy into people. It inspires them to do something. It's better than doing nothing. It's all about perspective and how you look at it. Smashley could have been inspired that her content inspired me to give an opinion on it, whether it be boring or not. It's all about perspective. How do you see it? Why do you see it as an attack? Are you self-conscious about your content being boring? that's something you got to work on. The only way you can really work on it is by receiving criticism for your content. With this reaction from Smashly, I wonder how many people out there hide their opinion. That is why when I would get into a box and Malibu would drop, tons of people would message me and say, you should get in the box more often. Malibu's boring as fuck. I'll never put out who it was. Even though I may or may not be on good terms with the bulk of them, I'll still never put them out there. Because what good does that do me? I'm not trying to get Smashly to fight with people. You're right. Some people can't take criticism. They think it's an attack. They do. Now, to be fair, maybe me saying it was boring wasn't constructive because I didn't give any advice on how to not make it boring. It's just I don't feel it's my position to dictate the way her platform goes. So she's boring. House of Lies, boring is the least of anyone's worries, correct? I know my content is boring sometimes. It is what it is. Not everything can be a hit. Not everything can be funny. Not everything is going to hit people the same way. You know, less people are going to laugh at this than they did at that, but that's okay. You do it again. You try again. You try different things. Monster, yeah. The popularity table's good. It's okay. It's just we have to change our perception on why people act the way they act. It ain't us. People don't hate us because we're us. People hate us because we make them uncomfortable. They see us as a threat, even though we're not. A threat to what? I don't know. Like, I'm not out to take Smashly's platform. I'm not out to take her viewers. But for whatever reason that she views me as some kind of threat, I don't know. I gave her props many times. In situations years past where I was wrong and she was right. Where we argued and I argued my wrong point against her right point. I give her full credit for that. I always have. So it's not like I've displayed any greed towards her or discounted her efforts or her efforts to express her opinion. So it makes you wonder what it is now. This is the Goth table, Karma. This is the Outcast table. Not really. The Outcast table is every platform that feels like they can weaponize their viewers against other people. They don't have any genuine intent for their viewers. Tonight she was acting like people were out to take her out. Don't know where that came from. I don't know where that came from either. But that is concerning because it's exactly what I said it was. The threat, the urgency, the lie, the my DV, the people are out to get me, the mentioning of the pew, all that is to entice the audience and to be becoming triggered and making decisions without any critical thinking involved. That's why when you hear wild claims like that, you really have to take a step back, give yourself 90 seconds, give yourself 5 minutes, ask yourself, is there going to be any difference if I take action on this topic now or in 24 hours? And that's a good way to practice not making decisions based off of emotion. Any creator that you are watching who is urging you to act now does not care about the repercussions that you will feel later. And not repercussions from the person that you went after. Repercussions from the way you feel after you realize that you were wrong. They don't care about how they may make somebody do some stuff and they'll feel like shit later. Not the creator, the person that did it. There's no critical thinking about the way the people watch you feel. Do I think about the way my people feel? Absolutely. Because I never want anybody to act on behalf of me. I never want anybody to attack anybody. If I show you a receipt and I say, this is some fuck shit, that's my opinion. It's up to you to determine if that's some fuck shit to you. Or if you even care. But it's also up to you to not take me by my word. It's up to you to go do independent research. Come to that decision for yourself. Right, Monster? I get apologies a lot too. And I don't ever hold anything against anybody because I understand that they were acting in the moment and they were doing what they thought at the moment was the right thing to do. And I can't judge anybody for that. I've made decisions where I didn't think it through. We all have. So something I've done before, I can't, hold it against somebody else. There's a lot of people that have messaged me and been like, what people said about you wasn't true. But you're entitled to your opinion based on whatever it's based off of. If it's not based off a conversation with that person, though, I can really appreciate the people that reach out and apologize for that, because it takes something in you to admit that, like, yeah, I fucked up. So a lot of people don't think for themselves, but a lot of people do. And it's that effect. It's the effect first behavior from Smashly and other creators that cause people who normally would think critically to use that effect shortcut in their mind with that emotion and feel like they really need to do something and act now on behalf of the person that is in such distress on the screen right now over being called boring, mind you. And yeah, when that gets triggered and people make that decision, they work themselves up. So it prevents critical thinking throughout the process. But when you go to sleep and wake up, some people realize they were wrong. And they're like, fuck, my bad. Some people cannot accept that they're wrong. And now you have just taken this person who had no dog in the fight and made them hate this person, all because they can't accept that they were wrong. So they'll fight and fight and fight to prove that they're not wrong. Group mentality, yes. Group mentality is a big one. That's because of the echo chamber effect thing and like the parasocial relationships that people develop with like a content creator. Like they really think that Smashly is their friend, and if they do something for her, they have this connection with her and all that because she's talking to everybody at once, but nobody at all. So it's mental gymnastics, and everybody has to go through it. Everybody has to experience it. There ain't no judgment on anybody who has experienced it. People have experienced it with Mallory. People have experienced it with me, Smashly, with everybody. Look, it happens. The world is a big place with a lot of people, and we're all different. And we all fuck up. So I don't hold anything against anybody who feels the need to defend somebody, even if the defense is for calling them boring. Right, House of Lies. And you, yourself, can spot an echo chamber from a mile away. Like, I know that for a fact. Um, because you've called it out with many other people. Like, they're over there talking in their echo chamber. And it is a real term. It's not just a term for a bunch of people that stick together. If you look up what an echo chamber actually is, there's a large amount of them. Like, people could call this an echo chamber, but this isn't spreading harmful misinformation. This is opinion based off of fact that you can look up, that you are encouraged to go do your own independent research on everything that I'm saying. You don't have to stay here. You can go talk to anybody you want, and you're welcome back here. That is not an echo chamber. An echo chamber is people that oppose get blocked, get removed, and then the chat goes wild with the negativity that agrees with what the creator's saying. That builds reassurance, and it's a lot easier for that creator to permeate their opinion into the people that are there. Because now the people that are there, they're reassured by the consensus of the other people in the chat saying, yeah, you're right. Yeah, you're right. Yes, Samantha. I love an opposite opinion. You don't have to agree with me, because we can talk about it in a respectful way where I'll let you talk and then I'll respond and I'll respect your opinion. I don't need to change your mind. When I have a conversation with someone, I do not need to change their mind. The fact that people can be open-minded enough to hear an opinion and consider it and question it. Both people, neither has to change, but for the people that are watching, they witness a respectful conversation. They've got both sides, and then they can form their own opinion based off of that. Nobody has to agree with you 100% of the way, or even 1% of the way. Yeah, right, Nicole. I haven't been to the store to get a Kool-Aid yet. Yes, Karma. That is what it is. Learning things is great. It is. There's no shame in learning. There's no shame in saying, I didn't know that until I looked it up. There's no shame in saying, I didn't know that till I looked it up, and I didn't know that I looked at the wrong thing. If you Google studies between teams, they will put people who have opposing opinions on teams, different opinions about everything, on one team. And then they'll take people who have the same opinion and put them on another. The team that has opposing opinions outperform the team that have the same opinions every single time, every single study. There is not one scientifically backed study out there that has the people that have the same ideology outperforming the diverse. The diverse ideology always, 100% of the time, outperforms the same. Right. And the thing is, like, with you can't learn anything from somebody who has the same opinion. Correct. We all have to have a different opinion about something. Like, we can have the same opinion about one thing, but we can have differing opinions about other things. That's where people mistake hate bonding. They think that since they have the same opinion on this, they're best friends and they're going to get along forever. But the second they disagree on something else, it's over. They become enemies again. That's correct, Carmen. Existing views are reinforced and alternative ideas are not considered. They are blocked out of the chat. Gemini, yes. she did go back to the masses, worried about public opinion and, all that. Why be concerned about public opinion? When you're concerned about public opinion, and this I think is what I take away from it and what I do. When I see a creator that's worried about public opinion, I immediately understand that creator has no individual connection with any one person that is in their area. That one person is not worth more than 10 numbers up top there. That is what it is. When you're so concerned about the numbers, individuality goes away. When you're not concerned about the numbers and you allow people to be who they are, whether they like you or they don't like you, whether they have the same opinion or a different opinion, and you allow them to speak, it creates a much more open and fair place to spend your time. Discussions in college, yes. There should be far more discussions on TikTok. I've been trying to. I have. The box has been open. Okay. They've been open. Nobody who has a problem with me has ever came up in a box. Except Monster, one time. Right, Nicole. There is nothing wrong with having a difference in opinion. It's perspective and one's ability to perceive. If you have the perspective that you're going to have an open mind and be able to listen to people, you don't have to listen to people for them to change your mind. You don't have to have that conversation for the sole purpose of changing somebody's mind. Because when you want their mind to change immediately, you are taking away critical thinking. I cannot tell you how many conversations I've had with people where I did not change their mind, but 2 weeks later, it did, because they were able to think about it and they were able to put it together themselves. They were able to do independent research to see and look into it a little further, and they changed their mind on portions of their opinion. Let it set. They might have went and talked to somebody else, and they're the ones that changed their mind. It's not like you don't get points for changing people's minds. You get points for allowing people to believe what they want. And before, anybody twists that and says, well, what about racism? What about it? What about it? It's wrong. But have you ever tried to change a racist mind? Because I ain't see fucking anybody else other than the people that I did see. But I ain't see Smash Lip and Boss Hogs. I ain't see Petty really up there. I don't blame Petty. He, I wouldn't have wanted Petty over there anyways, because all he was going to do is be a racist to him, and fuck that. I got that shit. But, don't subject people to racism, meaning don't expect the racism that's happening to be taken care of by the racism that's happening too. Don't subject anybody to racism. Take care of that shit. The problem with Boss Hog was he denied that he was a racist. He drew people in when they thought he wasn't. That's the problem. Be who you want to be, but let people know so we can all make that decision whether we want to fuck with you or not. So, yeah, debate lives are good. Samantha, I go to a few. I don't participate. Mainly because if I take a box in any other live on any other side of TikTok, I've got 40 people coming over being like, fuck him, and whatever. Correct, Monster. When all wrongs aren't called out on a call-out platform, I can't deal. When all wrongs don't include the wrongs of you and the other people, yeah, it's wrong. It's hypocrisy. They see it. They know. They don't care, though. Yeah, more people do. I think it would be a lot of fun to have a live where people would just talk, and not even about like politics, not even about like anything, about on the app stuff, the behavior of people, what people see, what people have experienced. But that can't happen because let's say somebody experienced something negative with Smashley, well, she's going to go nuts on them again. That's why that can't happen. People are fearful to speak their mind and to give their opinion and their experience of other people because they feel like they're going to be attacked. Right, Monster. I will be the only person in the room with an opinion that is of my own opinion, and it can be the opposite of everybody in there, and I will still say my opinion. What I believe is not influenced by how popular it will make me. Who, Nicole? Who denied being other things? Oh, yeah. Boss Hog, he did deny being other things, too. And I don't like it. Boss Hog is not my people. I'll never be able to fuck with them. I'll never be able to... I've tried to have a civil, educating conversation with him about racism, but he deflected and he used excuses, and he's just not ready for it. If there's ever a time that Boss Hog would want a conversation with me to get my opinion on racism and why it's wrong, I would have that conversation with him. I don't hate him like he hates other races. You got to have that want for people to do better. And if you don't have that want for people to do better, if you're going to let bias and feelings get in the way of making the place better overall for everybody, then you kind of suck. And even if Boss Hog did come at me and say, I want to learn, we would not be okay afterwards. I would respect him for wanting to learn, for listening, for hearing, for questioning, for, actual, like, legitimate things. But at the end of the day, after my conversation with him after that, he doesn't have to change his opinion because people are who they are. And I don't fuck with people like that, but it doesn't mean you can't try to change people like that or plant the idea for change or give the idea for education. Yeah, Monster, you didn't. Right. If you are so closed off and so self-centered that you can't understand that if you learn with other people, you get so much further. You grow a lot more. The opinion diversifies even more. And then you get further. Opinions are not facts unless it's an opinion based on a fact. And even then, since it's based on a fact, it would mean opinions are preferences is the easiest way to put it. Right, Nicole. The internet is a place where you can be anything you want. But it's best to be who you actually are. It's easier to keep up, because... Right, Monster. A conversation with somebody who is racist about racism and why it's wrong is never wrong. It's actually a step in a positive direction. For not just you, not just them, but for everybody. Good night, Amber. Oh, yeah. Yeah, he did. He tried to tell everybody that, like, that shit was me. And it's laughable. I don't dislike him for it. It's just like you look at people who are lying and you're like, what? That's weird. And you push on. You move along. Oh, yeah, Nicole. For sure. There's a lot of people that don't get to talk. We'll use Bougie as an example. Everybody lied on her. Nothing that she was accused of, she actually did. And I believed it. And I was beefing with Bougie off of listening to other people. And one day I reached out to her and I was like, hey, leave me all your text messages. And she said, you can go fuck yourself. Fair. And we talked for like 7-8 hours. And then after that, I listened. She listened. That conversation went well. Me and Bougie don't agree on everything, contrary to what people might see. But I respect Bougie enough to allow her to exist with her opinions and respect those opinions enough to not try to take them away from her, because she is her own individual, as she does back to me. It's mutual. It's mutual with a lot of people, with me, with Nikki, with a lot of people. We don't try to change one another because we like each other for who we are. We disagree. But when we disagree, we figure out why. Every situation isn't a right or wrong situation. Sometimes it's a learn. And I think that's why there's no resolution, or no chance for a resolution for some people. It's because everybody sees it as a simple right or wrong solution. Who's right, who's wrong? How about we can both be right and we can both be wrong? Because when people have an issue, it's not just one thing. There's no overall right. This person might be right about 2 things and wrong about 2 things, and I might be right about 2 things and wrong about 2 things. Hey, it's a tie. Then what happens? It's a learning experience. Then we had a conversation. We learned a little bit about each other, and we can develop from there. Yes, Nicole. Me, Bougie, Monster, OG, Samantha, Virgo. The list of people that have been a victim of this stuff that Smashley is doing. Smashley has even been a victim of what she tries to do. And you can't tell me that you don't like it done to you and then you try to do it to other people. It's odd behavior. But there's so many people who have been a victim of it, and there's so many people who felt the need to be silent because of it, because that reinforced the idea that it works. That's why people do it. Right, Karma? It makes things boring if we all agree. And Nicole, the ability to disagree respectfully is a wonderful thing to have. Because just because we disagree does not in any way mean that I don't like you, that I don't respect you, that I don't want to see you do better, that I don't want to even be around you. I can disagree with you and still want to be around you, and still like you, and still want to see you do better. Nothing wrong with a good disagreement. It's healthy. Right, Monster? It's all perception. And with Bougie, not enough people give her an opportunity for a conversation. I guarantee that if you don't like Bougie and you get a hold of her and you say, hey, I want to have a conversation, she will. 100% of the way. Now that's up to you. If you don't like her, are you gonna listen to her? Because she'll listen to you. She'll hear your side, but you have to hear her as well. It's not one-sided. You have to hear the other person if you want to be heard. Yeah, karma. Banter is good. Nothing wrong with it. There's a difference between banter is a good way to put this. People's actions in the past, we can banter about people's actions in the past. We can make jokes about it. We can shed light on it. Hey, we don't forget our behavior from the past because we're not glorifying it when we talk about it, but we're remembering it. That's the banter, back and forth, the jokes, all good. But when people take people's 12-month ago shit, 2-year ago shit, and put it on blast, that's where it becomes chaining people down in the past, removing the ability for accountability, and showing that you need them lower than you. Right, Monster? Bougie has been around. Like, she's seen the dentist stuff, which was shocking to me. Like, she knew all about it, and I'm like, damn, you were there for that. But I never talked to her. I never once. And that's what opened my eyes to, wait, am I exposing people and working off the validation I get from the people? Or should I just put that information out there and then people will do with it what they please? They'll do their research if they want. They'll agree if they want. They'll disagree if they want. I have to allow people to make that decision for themselves. Right, House of Lies. Too many yes men. Too many people that are afraid to show any kind of resistance. I said in my last live, anybody listening from Petty's, if you think that you can disagree with Petty openly, I want to see you do it. I'll see you in my next live talking about how Petty blocked you. Like, I want to see you disagree with Smashley. Not right now, because she's going to be like, oh yeah, see, people can disagree with me. But in a natural, casual situation. Absolutely correct. That's a great point, Nicole. People holding other people to standards that they cannot hold themselves to. That's something to think about. Right, Monster. And the thing is like, anything that you've done in the past, Monster, should not be held against you in the future. Because if you do something in the past, honestly, you learn from it. You did what you thought was best in a situation, whether it be for yourself or for somebody else. And later on, you figured out it was wrong. Why should anybody punish you socially for that? If it was so horrendous, like, yeah, sure, we could be like, oh, we ain't fucking with it. But nothing you've done has been so horrendous where people would even be justified to completely disassociate. I can't say with everybody. I don't know everybody you've ever encountered. But for me personally. And that's the weird part, House of Lies. People are still holding lives on Monster. What has Monster done since she didn't do anything the last time they held a live on her? It's odd, obsessive behavior. And it's also odd, obsessive behavior if Smashley is listening to me. Because obviously she doesn't like me. So I'm going to assume she's not. And, hope that there is some sense that if you don't like me, my opinion should carry no weight in your mind. Right, House Lies. People hated Bougie because she says what's on her mind. And when Bougie gets into a box and she talks, does she sound intimidating? Absolutely. To some people, to me, sometimes, yeah. She talks with some conviction, okay? And that can throw some people off. But that's how she talks. That's how she talks when she's passionate about a subject. Like, what are you going to do? She's got emotion behind her voice. What else is wrong with her that people can see that's not really wrong with her? Not a whole lot. She told the truth on people. Oh no. I was going at her because she was fucking with Stephanie, and I knew Stephanie was awful. And then I mistakenly thought that everybody who would associate with somebody who is awful too. It's a learning experience. And if we don't take the opportunity to learn, then we don't take the opportunity to get to know some of the best people. Okay, so Bougie had no obligation whatsoever to have a conversation with me, but she did. And I'm glad she did, because then I found out I was wrong. And then I could go from there. House of Lies, from that time, my opinion on the petty stuff was that it wasn't true, because I had looked for it and I could not find it. And then since I couldn't find it, and then Boss Hogg tried to claim it falsely, that skewed my judgment on the situation. So when Boss Hogg framed it in a way where Petty had touched his child, which is not true. Petty did not touch his child inappropriately. He beat him, but not in any sexual way. Boss Hogg framed it that way. I took offense to that, because you can't accuse, even if I don't like him and I didn't like him at the time, you can't accuse people of that. So that's why when it came back up, I didn't believe it, because of all the prior stuff. And the funny conversation I had with Bougie was, if you would only have shown the proof, and then there was a screenshot of her green screening it, and I realized I wasn't paying attention. If I was paying attention and I was talking to the other side, I would have been fully informed and been able to make a decision based off of all of the information instead of half of it. The half of it that was wrong. Right, Monster? Lip filler. The lip filler, they fuck with Bougie about lip filler. They fuck with Monster about lip filler. I've made fun of both Bougie and Monster about lip filler. Like, I've made jokes about it. Everybody's, made jokes about it, but I make jokes about everybody. Yes, Boss Hogg cosigns. No face, no case. Yes, Samantha, I lied about the child making. Boss Hogg got it twisted. Petty lied about his child committing that. His child never touched the other child. Petty just lost his fucking cool. Like I said earlier in that live, it would be really cool for Petty to just come out and be honest, and then he can start his redemption arc. Because if Petty came out and he was honest, and he was just like, look guys, yeah, that was me, I did that shit, I would respect it a lot. I would no longer be able to hate on him. I would be able to look at him as an example of somebody who was able to come to terms with where he was wrong and moving forward. Now, I want to be able to be okay with him, because, again, morally, we don't align there. But there would be no ill feelings, and I would be happy to see him progress and move forward. Because he doesn't even have to do that. That's not even a demand. I just think it would be cool if he did. I think a lot of people would think it would be cool if he did. I think his viewership would go up so much if he did that. And he was like totally transparent and honest about it, and took questions from people and accepted the anger and accepted the disappointment and worked past it. I think that would be cool to see. Not because I would want to be close friends with him, because I don't. And I can confidently say that, no offense to him, we just don't align morally. I would like to see it because he would be doing better. And I'm not selfish enough to say that I don't want to see other people do better. Right, House of Lies. It would be a redeeming moment. It would be a refreshing moment. Out of all that time, he talked all that shit and not taking that accountability for him to finally do it. The redemption arc would be refreshing for everybody. Yes, Samantha, he does have a following that would stay, even if he admitted all of it. They know. They know. There's no way they don't know. It's just they neglect to look at factual information as an excuse to say we don't know, but they know. And they don't want to admit that they know because they don't want to admit that they support somebody who's convicted of child abuse. But if we're honest with ourselves, it's okay. People have a right to support anybody they want. They're afraid of the judgment from the other people. They're afraid of being drug into it. Even though, like, I've never drug anybody in from any other platform. Back when me and Smash went at it, I never once talked shit about Jenna. As a matter of fact, me and Smash were going at it, and someone went after Jenna. And I was like, nope, fuck you. She's not in it. It's a respect. It's a one-on-one thing. It's not everybody versus everybody. It's one-on-one. If your issue is with somebody individually, what are you doing? Try to rally up your people. Because Smashley knows me. You could have 1 million people coming at me, and I'm still going to talk directly to you. They don't stop my voice. Yeah, House of Lies. Tell the truth. Right, Nicole. When I made fun of Monsters filler, I might have been slightly envious of it, that I didn't have it. And I can admit that. Who's used to? Definitely, they made me want to get it. Right, Nicole. And let's be real. Any cosmetic surgery that anybody gets, they're doing it for them. They're not doing it for anyone else. They're doing it for them. And nobody should judge that. You know, people should be happy that people are able to do those things and make themselves feel better about themselves. It's about being comfortable in your own skin. And you can't deny people that. It's also, there's a thing about being comfortable on the internet where people like Smashley try to deny that. Yes, I do want lip filler. Right, Samantha, let's do that. So, this live was also for another purpose too. Over the years, I've seen many people get this done to them and then go live freaking out. Like, oh my God. Don't do that. You don't even have to acknowledge it. Or you can go live and you can let them know that it doesn't matter to you. That this is the internet. And maybe you should stop trying to assert your dominance that you don't have in your life on people. I was having a conversation earlier, and somebody was like, this is all completely confidential. Nobody will ever know who this conversation was with. Somebody was like, Smashley's short. She's got the woman version of the short man syndrome. And my response was, no matter how much, like, my opinion might be not okay with Smashley, I said I could never wish for a woman to be weaker. I'm glad that she has the position that she does where she feels tough. I'm glad that she has that. But I wish that she would use it the correct way. I didn't say that part. I wanted to add that part. I wish she would use it the correct way. If she would use it for other people, like the people that follow her, and don't use it as a intimidation. Use it as you can talk. You can have an opinion. Take the outward toughness, put it in yourself, and start handling criticism better. Because being called boring, no reason for that kind of lashing out. I don't know what it would be called, that reaction. Right, Monster. You can't answer everything. You can't respond to everybody. But you can set an example. Which Monster has done as well. Monster has set many examples through lives that are like, this is what it is. Some examples don't work. Some examples aren't enough. But the fact that sometimes we do stuff and we're like, that's an example, but it's not enough. That's within us. It was enough the whole time. It's just the continuation of people's endless hate towards you is what makes you think that it might not be enough. But then if you look at that person that's endlessly hating you, you have to feel a kind of way for her. Why are they so angry? Do they not know what being happy feels like? Do they not know what having fun feels like? Because this, you can tell by the look on their face, isn't fun for them. Yep. She got upset because Malibu was called boring. I've never called Malibu any derogatory name when she insinuated what she did in front of 600 people. I called her boring because I didn't feel she deserved to be called anything derogatory, you know? I have control over what I say at all times. I don't need to be vile and disgusting and call women outside of their names when I don't feel the situation is necessary or the person is deserving of that. Now, it might be a flaw with me to think some people are. I'll agree with you. But in that situation, as a whole, I didn't think she did. I've never been derogatory towards her. I've only ever called her boring. That's an honest criticism of a person. That's not even derogatory. It's not even anything to pay attention to. Honestly, why does my opinion matter? You're 100% correct, that's Smith. 100% correct. A lot of people have a tough exterior to hide how fragile they really are on the inside. And your father was correct. A lot of anger comes from fear. They think they've become uncomfortable, like somebody's going to take something from them. If Smashley thinks for a second that I want her platform, she's absolutely wrong. I do not want to sit there and stream people and talk about other people while I'm streaming them. Don't want to do that. I want to participate in the chat. I want to talk about whatever. I want to, have people up in the box, whoever I want. There's no restriction. People that people don't like are welcome in my box. People that I don't like are welcome. People that don't like me are welcome. I'm good with that. It's the freedom to do whatever you want, say whatever you want, act however you want, within reason, with respect to other people. But right, Monster. I do feel bad for people that are so miserable that they have to get angry at people on the internet over small things. And I don't think Smashley is inherently a bad person, okay? I think she's just got shit twisted. Like, the public opinion does not matter. How hard are you fighting to keep your numbers? How much stress is that putting on you? And how does it make you feel when you see the target of all of your anger give no fuck and lecture you on how you're acting like a child. To make you an example for other people of how to handle this situation, of what to look for, of how to avoid it, how to avoid becoming a part of it. People can hear me or not. I still said it. Some people, one person. If one person listened, great. That's enough. All right, Nicole. I did. I did. And I don't mind it. I don't mind it at all. I don't mind listening to people. I don't mind talking to people. I'm a little, I guess, it's hard for me to answer messages. I don't know what it is. It's some kind of block. But I'm trying to get better at it. I'm trying to work my way back into it. And people have been really accommodating on that. Whenever I find out what's wrong, I'll let people know. Yeah, Gemini, she did. She went back to the masses because she thought the masses would give her views, which they do. Then your number up top goes up, but it's all about your quality of views. It's all about the quality of the engagement. You can have people in there saying random stuff, but if you're not having people in there that are adding to the conversation with a different opinion or even like a different viewpoint of the same opinion, it becomes a little rough when they're streaming people, and it just creates this negativity, and it's all negative. Everybody's pointing out the negatives of the person that they're streaming. Nobody wants to even acknowledge any of the positives. It becomes toxic. I try to be a good sport about most things. Nothing bothers me. A good example of what to do if you ever want to become numb to other people's opinions is just go live and say that you like Lisa Richards and mean it. Then you will have thousands of people who immediately don't like you, and that can warp your perception on why do so many people not like me because I said I like this person. Right, Gemini, yes, it's boring. My point is proven. The attacks on everybody is boring. We've had enough. You know, Smashly can go live and do the Draw app. Smashly can, like, pick a topic that she's interested in, do a bunch of research on it, and tell people about it. It doesn't have to be anything that's helpful or app related. She could be interested in how to splice the DNA of apples together and grow apple trees, and she could go live and explain the science of that. And guess what? She might only get 40 people, but she is going to enjoy the quality of the content that she put out because it's something that she wanted to do. Then you start crying over babies that say that you said it wasn't real. Unbelievable. That is something that I'm never going to be able to forget, because how are you going to say a baby is not real and then cry over the safety of a baby that you just claimed was not real? Insane. Right, Samantha. It's hate watching. All the streaming of people who are down on their luck, from people who are begging for money for a hotel to people who are, they say, scamming just by existing on the internet and getting money from people. It's all hate watching. Nobody's ever seen me go after somebody specifically for asking for money. There was a coach, but he pretended to be a vet and was asking for money. That's a little disrespectful. That's something that doesn't align with my morals. I'm going to say something about it. But what does absolutely align with my morals is the fact that if there's somebody on the internet making money because they're asking for it, they should be allowed. It doesn't matter if they're saying that they're getting food and they're going to buy something else. because they're going to get that money anyways. And it's best that they get that money off of the app instead of going and mugging an old lady. The fact that people need somebody to bully, to vilify, says a lot about them. Right, no going in real life, meeting someone off the app. Last time I did that, I thought I was doing coke with them. It was meth. Right, monster? How dare you say you feel sympathy for somebody who the public hates? Like, you're not allowed to have your opinion because people hate on it, and that's why people remain quiet. You can like who you like. You can feel however you feel about anybody. If I don't like somebody, you are actually encouraged to try to like them. Anybody that I'm not a fan of, don't take my word for it. Go find out for yourself. I'm confident in my decision. Because one of two things will happen. Either you'll see them from a different perspective than me and you'll like them, or you won't like them. And either way, you went through the experience and you either gained a friend from it, which is great, or you learned from it, which is great. Hurts nothing. Correct. House lies. Once it's known that you said a baby was fake and then you cried over a fake baby and used it as an excuse to call the police on somebody, that is something that you have to look at on every decision that person makes. Hey, Farrah, how are you? Right, Samantha? It happens. Sometimes we're down for doing a little bit of coke and it turns out to be meth. Whoops. But, to be fair, I did meth one time for 30 days. Only once for 30 days. Right, Monster? You would too. I would see it. I would see where people would be like, oh, fuck him. And you were like, oh, I like it. And like with Sassy Virgo and stuff, I still don't hate her. I don't dislike her. But I don't need to have anything like to associate with. Or the old record crew or whatever it was. It's just not my style. And there should be a mutual respect there from both. I don't either. I don't care about public opinion. Yeah, the version of me that you get may not be the same version that Skittles gets. It is dependent on the way people treat people. That is hilarious, Samantha. There would be, that is a really good point, to consider yourself an against the grain person. Everybody should be against the grain. The fact that we can look at ourselves and say, yeah, I go against the grain, represents a problem of group thinking, of people of creators who feel like their viewers are their property, like they're theirs and nobody else can have them. Absolutely not. Everybody that I know does not have to come in here. I never, ever have gotten offended because somebody didn't come in my live and watch my whatever I'm doing. It's weird. Like, if there's something better, please do go watch it. Like, let me know about it. Fuck, I might go over there with you. Like, I ended my live earlier to go over to Friends with Attitudes. It's okay to promote other people. It's okay to openly say that you like watching other people or you like the way other people do stuff. It's okay to call people boring. Totally acceptable. It's opinions. Right, Nicole. When you're going against the grain, it means you are thinking for yourself. If we're not allowed to think for ourselves, and we are so influenced by people on TikTok that we listen to or watch, we need to look at ourselves. Why? Like, it's okay to feel like, this person's more powerful. It's okay. That's a normal feeling. Okay? You have to be responsible with that, though. You cannot abuse that. That's why I don't approach women in a sexual way. Because what if that power dynamic is there? I don't want to abuse that. I don't want to ask anybody for anything, because what if that power dynamic is there and then they feel obligated to do it? I'm not saying the power dynamic is there. I'm just saying that I've seen other people abuse it, and I do everything in my power to not abuse any kind of power dynamic. And Monster, you're the perfect example of that. You knew Petty was guilty, and you didn't hold it against him. And that shows character that I don't have. And it's something that you should be proud of. Because realistically, I should be able to do the same thing. But I can't. And I've come to terms with my ability to not be able to, but I can also come to terms with your choice to do so. And I can look at it as something that should be admired, not something that should be, hated. If you know what I mean. It's totally okay to have a different opinion and act on it, and then realize within yourself, when you see somebody else do it, that actually is a good thing. It is a good thing. The fact that you were able to not hold it against him is a good thing. Does it make my opinion a bad thing? Kinda. It makes it worse than yours for sure. But I'm okay with that. Morals lie where they lie. Everybody should be more encouraging to one another. No matter how close you are with somebody, you should want to see them do better. You should encourage them to think for themselves. You should encourage them to be open about their opinions and to not be afraid to speak them. Right. If it was a current thing, I get you. But that's where I have that failure. And I can admit it. I have that failure at that cutoff right there. Should I be able to work past it? I should. There's a lot of other stuff, though, like how Bougie was done, how he platformed everybody against her, how he started all that stuff. That is also something that, myself, not saying anybody else should. That's just my personal, viewpoint of it. There's a lot of stuff to work past, and I'm working past it. I'm working on it. But the progress isn't moving. It could. It could. And, wherever you develop that is a good thing. Your ability to look past and forgive people is a good thing. I think a lot of it comes from your want of other people being able to do it for you or other people that you know. So I get it. I never really hated on you for sitting with Petty, because it is what it is. Sit where you want, but also know that you're allowed to express anything and not be ridiculed for it. Right. And that is a good way to look at it. I would judge mine. I would. But again, that's a flaw within myself that, it takes time to work through. It takes conversation to work through. It takes the idea of like, I don't know, it's confusing. Now that might be where some people get confused because like they don't know how to express what it would take to change their opinion because I've never been presented with anything and I don't know what it would take. That's why open discussion is great because you never know what you're going to be presented with or what opinion that is actually going to change. And that's why the open discussion with opposing viewpoints is a wonderful thing to have. I get that too. The betrayal is rough. You gave him an opportunity and he, best example of that is Miss Sunshine. The same thing she did to Snark, she did to a lot of other people, and I knew that. But just because I knew that did not mean that I wasn't willing to give her a chance, and that I did not tell anybody that, hey, watch out, she might turn on you, because I didn't want to lower the chances of their friendship working, because I wanted their friendship to work. Because they're, Snark, Breezy, Victoria, they're good people. Why would I not want other people to associate with them and be friends with them? I know how good of people they are, so I want them to be able to be seen as good people by everybody, to experience the same things I do. And she did that shit to them, and it was wild. You don't try to sabotage stuff and sabotage friendships. People, there's more than enough of one single person to go around for everybody. You can have 500 friends, and it's not taking anything away from any one of them, unless the overwhelm thing happens, and then you just stop answering people's messages for weeks at a time, which happens to me currently. I think I just got to answering yours today, Monster. And yours today was, I seen you live, and it's cool going after my friends. I didn't ask you who your friends were. There's no obligation to even say. Because if they want to work it out, you have the experience of how easy it is to work it out. Take a box, have a chat, tell me what's up. I'll tell you what's up. We don't have to agree. We can move on. We had that conversation. Right, Monster. It's tough, though. It's tough because as people, we always want to give people the benefit of the doubt. So even though that we've seen people go live and share messages, there's something that we think that we are different from that situation. Like, we know inside of us we would not do the same stuff to that person that other person must have done. Come to find out, most of the time it's the person that's sharing the messages that did the fuck shit. And then we learn. But I still stand on giving everybody an opportunity, no matter what their past is, for the most part. I do have my hard lines, as everybody should, but just because you hear something about somebody, Hallie Not Berry, the best example. And Friends Live, she was followed in there, and somebody took a box and was like, she's shit. And I'm like, damn. So she's messy. Okay. And I took a box and I'm like, you got to start thinking about what your actions are doing to everybody. You might have the best of intentions for friends, but now Hallie's taking it as you're trying to rip away every opportunity at a social interaction. You have to let people be able to be social. You have to let them live. You have to trust friends and her decision-making abilities about Hallie. Because I'll be honest with you, I would rather see Hallie associate with Friends, because I know Friends is going to be a good influence on Hallie, than see Hallie associate with Dalton. You know, give people the opportunity to have a positive influence. Right, and it's respectful for people to be a no for people. Totally respectful. But I don't see you going around trying to ruin any social interaction she might have. So that's respectful on your part too. You're not out to bring her down. It's a no. Hope she does better. But a no from you. And is it a no from me? No, it's not. If Hallie came in and took a box and wanted to say something, I would let her. I would have to. But it couldn't be like disparaging towards anybody. It would just, she's got an opinion too. She's allowed to say it. And that's the minimum respect that anybody can give anybody, is to allow them to speak. That's a great way to put it. That's how everybody should be. We should all remember that a no doesn't mean hate. A no just means I've watched your behavior and it's a no for me. I've seen what you've done is a no for me. Hope you do better, but I'm not going to be there for it. That's a great way to be with a lot of people. Biology, yes. Hallie needs somebody to help guide her. I do not have the skill set to do that. I just don't. I would hinder her progress more than I would help it. And sometimes we have to realize that we cannot help everybody, but that doesn't mean that we don't want people to do better. We don't want somebody to find somebody that is able to. Yep. And that's why I like it, House of Lies. Everybody should be able to speak. Whether it's positive, negative, it all adds to the conversation. It all adds to the overall. If people aren't allowed to speak, then it becomes a problem. Yeah, right. It doesn't mean that I wish any ill will on her. I actually wish all the best on her. I have her on Snapchat. I messaged her today after that and was like, look, different perspective. Like, you don't want to see people feel like nobody likes them or nobody wants them around. You don't want people to feel that way, because everybody's allowed to have people to associate with, no matter your feelings on them. Right. And that was my point in Friends Live to whoever had went up there and like interrupted everything and was like, fuck Hallie. It's like, if you're looking out for Friends, that's respectable. But do it in a different way. Message her on the back end. Be like, hey, this is what I know about Hallie. And then trust Friends to make her own determination on this person. Because who knows? Friends probably has the skill set to guide Hallie. If I'm being honest. She's probably got that skill set. It would be beneficial for Hallie to learn from Friends. I don't see anything wrong with that. If Friends was, thought she could. Everybody makes their own choices. Biology. What did I lie on you about? Who are you, first off?
Who am I?
Oh, OG, yeah. What's up?
I'm like, who am I? Well, no, that's not far out because there was somebody on here, I guess, by the name of OG Boss Lady that everybody thought was me, and no, there's another OG Boss Lady.
Well,
So,
I'm like, OG does not like universally represent you because there's so many people that do like OG this, that, or the other.
yeah. Um, remember when I had gotten off the app? And it's so weird because I don't know if Bougie told you, but the other night somebody sent me a clip, and it was you and Bougie in a box after like all that shit went down, and you were like, remember when OG told people that her minor child's address was put out there? Well, it was actually her address, which you're not, you're correct there. It is also my address, but it was my minor child's phone number with our address put out. Does that make sense?
It does. And I'll be honest, we had both referenced the address as the minor child's address, and we did that on purpose. I did that on purpose. And I can admit that I did that on purpose to make it sound worse, to make people emotional and riled up. And then looking back on that, was it wrong? Absolutely. I should have been more clear on exactly the address.
But wait a minute. I guess that kind of confuses me because I could see if the address just got put up with nothing attached, right? But the address got put up with my minor child's name and phone number.
Yeah.
It didn't get put up like this is OG's address, this is OG's phone number.
Mm-hmm.
It got put up with this is OG's child's phone number and OG's, so.
Well, the way we worded it, and I specifically remember the way we worded it, we didn't sit and talk and be like, we're going to word it this way because
No.
We both just worded it that way because we both knew what's going to get people's attention, like, hey, this. And that, admittedly, for me at least, was at a time where I was like, fuck Mallory and fuck Petty. Make it sound worse. That's definitely something that I've done before.
See, and I guess I didn't realize, like, that's how you were going with it. What the fuck am I looking at?
Yeah, that was 100%.
For me, even before you and I ever even talked, like, that, it doesn't matter. I mean, common sense, 2 and 2 is 4. If it's my minor child, then obviously it's my address too. At no shape and form did I have the mindset of putting it out here this way to get people more riled up because it was a child involved, because quite frankly, like, nobody gave a fuck that my child was involved. She had nothing to do with anything on this app. Granted, common sense says obviously if it's my, hence the word minor child, that means I'm going to be here as well. Her shit shouldn't have got put up at all, period.
I agree. I've always agreed. That was my mindset. My mindset was say it that way, and people would pay attention. Because I can agree with you. When you had put that out there, it did seem like nobody cared. You were one of the people, again, that got bashed and silenced, like Bougie, like, Samantha, Virgo, like Smashley has almost been. You're one of the people that's been a victim of exactly what I'm talking about.
And I'll be honest, like, I don't know what. We just literally got home and I decided to open the app and scroll to see if I could fall asleep, and I seen you guys around and I was like, I thought this was like somebody's screen recording, so I clicked it and I came in and I'm like, holy shit. And I even said when I first came in, I'm like, what the hell y'all still doing up? So I don't know what your live was about.
My live is about, for the past 2 days, I've been talking about the same thing that happened to you, about how people will exaggerate things and rile up the people and use it to their advantage to make them make snap judgments without any thinking whatsoever, and then blame. And then when they figure out, like, hey, that's misinformation, they continue to push the fact that they're not wrong. And they keep trying to find things to throw at them, and they keep trying to just be like, nope, fuck this person. All because they were emotionally manipulated into thinking one thing, and they can't accept that they were wrong. And then earlier, I insulted about 6-8 people with different varying levels, different types of insults. I said Smashley and Malibu were boring. And she flew off of the deep end and tried to do exactly what I was talking about, step by step, which shows that she's only looking at what she can pull as negativity or an insult. She's not consuming the context. So she did step by step everything I said because I called her boring.
I mean, but you're not wrong, first of all. Second of all, like, that's your opinion.
Don't say that. She'll bash you next for calling her boring.
Listen, so fun fact, I was sitting here and got asked, or, was told, hey, you should come on the app if you can, because for a while there, and you know what happened, so I didn't even have the app on my phone. Chris made sure that everything was gone. And so I got on Chris's account and got in a box with Smashley. She admitted what she did was wrong, so that she did it, the shit she did to me, so that she did it, just so that Petty wouldn't turn on her, blah, blah, blah. I shit you not, 3 days later, tell me why this bitch is literally in Holly Mae's live. And I happened to fall through the window, and so I just sat there quietly. Next thing you know, I get a box request. So I accepted it because, you know me, like, just because you may have a problem with somebody doesn't mean that I have to have the same problem with that person. So I was just in there listening. Well, then Smashley's in the comment running her mouth because I did not know the word. Me and Queenie got into it, and I used the word nappy. I didn't know that was considered a racial slur now.
I was not aware either. I looked it up, and I was like,
I did too.
But the thing about that is if you truly don't know, there's education.
Right. And I did exactly that. I had no clue. None whatsoever. And then I actually had a 3-hour phone call with Cartel about it because, of course, instead of anybody being like, hey, did OG actually know? Because I truly didn't. No, Smash did a live and ran with it as if, I said it to be racist. But of course Smash was in the comments and I was like, wait a minute, Smash, weren't you just in a box apologizing to me? And she's like, I was throwing up a little while I was doing it. Bitch, fuck off. But then you go and do a whole ass live making it out like I knew that word was racist when I had no clue. Like, not only did I Google it, I went into Friends Box and asked friends, and then had a very long phone conversation with Cartel about it too.
Yeah. As however you choose to get the education, that's how you choose to get it. Context is key. And that's also what I've been talking about too, is context. TikTok is full of 10-second clips where people will splice out 4 seconds of you saying one thing and then spin it however they want and not provide context. And people get riled up, believe it. They forget that they're individuals and that they can do independent research to make a thoughtful decision.
Well, so that scenario I just said actually fits with your whole point, because Smash took that, did a live, I don't know what night, because we were out camping, so I didn't have shit for service really. I just got to hear about it, but got everybody fired up, Cartel being one of those people, because keep in mind, Cartel wasn't in the live, so Cartel, didn't know. And instead of Holly Mae saying, do you know that's a racial, slur now? She's like, you need to go over there and get educated by friends, blah, blah, blah. Okay, wouldn't it have been much easier just to be like, hey, OG, do you realize that's a racial slur?
Well, it would have been, but it wouldn't have fit the entertainment narrative that they're looking for.
Right.
When people want to take away education, especially on a racial subject, and turn it into rage bait material, that's actually doing worse. That's doing worse because you're encouraging people to not educate themselves, because if they slip up, they're gonna get destroyed on the internet.
Mm-hmm. So this is probably going to be a very unpopular opinion, and my opinions are not the same as Florida Man's, so this is not to be held on him at all. But you take somebody like Unknown. I'm sorry. Unknown. I'm not sorry. Unknown race baits all the time. All the time. I just had another clip sent to me from when I first created this account. And someone had showed a picture of her. I put the picture as my profile picture. And boom, it was me supposedly now being blackfaced. So my question is, in that instance, and this is the first time I'm on the app talking about it, so I'd love opinions. If I put my child's picture up, my adopted son, as my profile picture, is that the same thing? Is that blackfaced?
I don't know where the idea that a profile picture was considered blackface. I have no idea. I'm not going to discredit anybody's beliefs, but personally, I feel like maybe that might be taking it a step too far. But if people want to believe that, sure. The intentions behind that belief, the motive, will show itself. And it's up to that person to risk that. When it comes to Unknown, does she race bait? Maybe. I don't pay attention to her. I call her a crackhead because she smokes crack. I don't fuck with crackheads. I only fuck with Lisa Richards. Lisa, like, Unknown is not even my favorite crackhead on the app. Okay? Like, she means nothing to me. Her opinion means nothing to me because I've seen it change from one end of the spectrum to the other. And she's just somebody who I don't fuck with her. I don't hate her. I'm glad. I hope she does better. I hope she does everything she ever wants to do. But I just don't fuck with her. Her opinion has no weight on me whatsoever. I gave her an opportunity. She showed me who she was. The fact that I talked to Bougie was enough for her to pretty much say fuck off and then just try to rewrite history. That tells me a lot about somebody.
Mm-hmm. But I do notice that she's somebody that always does it. And I'm like, wow. And in fact, somebody even called her out and was like, you used to ride so hard for OG. And now that you're over there with them, and I've watched it. She switches groups and people she sits with. Like, hell, I change my underwear every other day. It's somebody new. And I'm just like, you need a fucking hobby, because no, girl.
I would look at it this way. It's none of my business what anybody of color does, how they use race, or what they do with it, or anything, because they have the right. I mean, what happened was horrible. And nobody can tell anybody how to feel. Nobody can tell anybody like their race identity. Not like that. What to do with it, race bait, whatever. Do what you please with it. Do what you please with it. I don't have to participate though.
Mm-hmm.
It's not content that I like to consume. It's not content that I like to participate in. And she's allowed to exist. She's allowed to run around and exist. If she wants to lie, let her. It's not content that I want to consume. She can say what she wants about me. I'm never going to hear it. That's the cool part. And that's the freeing part, when you realize that you're never going to be able to get people to get your name out their mouth, but you don't have to acknowledge it. Like, I'm never going to hear anything the unknown says about me. And if I accidentally do, it's not going to make me mad. I feel bad for her because she's still stuck in the past. She's unable to move on like I was. And you have to feel kind of way for people like that. Hopefully she's able to move on. Hopefully she's able to get content. Hopefully she's able to do what she wants to do. You know, I was not a good fit with her. But that does not mean that I want her to do bad. But it does mean that she gets no more chances from me. You know what I mean?
Right.
Because I can't. It happened so out of nowhere and for nothing. And I know Unknown never had a conversation with Bougie, because if Unknown had a conversation with Bougie, Unknown would like Bougie, if we're being honest. So, yeah.
Yeah.
And she had a conversation. That effort to have that conversation would have been there. But it's the no effort for the conversation. It's the no attempt to find some kind of peace. Always the negativity, always the bashing, always a problem. That's what all these people are doing, from Holly Mae to Smashly to Petty to everybody. They built an unsustainable platform because now they have to attack to feel like they get that validation that they got from their people. And then they manipulate people, not even knowing it, not even knowing what they're doing. They just seen other people do it, so they do it.
I honestly think it's because some people love being miserable and what I call stirring the shit pot. And I truly believe it's those type of people.
So, I don't know. I can't agree with they love being miserable. I think they're stuck being miserable. I think they forgot what it's like to not be. But I can see where you could think that they would love to be miserable. It could be.
Maybe they don't love the miserable part, but they love always having some type of like chaos and bullshit going on. Maybe that's a better way to put it.
But there has to be a reason behind it. Like, there has to be some kind of incentive for them to continue. And the only thing that I can come up with is the numbers, the views, the interaction that they get from the people when they are up in arms and angry and attacking people.
Yeah, I can see that, because like I said, that day I just fell in the window and I wasn't saying nothing. Like, I never in a million years did I think that a freaking box request would be sent to me, but I took it. I mean, I guess if that's what makes you happy, then do your thing. But
back on the original, like when I was like the address thing, I 100% said that to take a jab at you.
Oh yeah, see, I didn't. Do you want to know the funny thing? I didn't know. I think maybe I was told about it back when it happened, but literally, I texted Bougie the other day and I was like, "Girl, what is this?" I'm like, "I thought we were friends," and she's like, "What?" And I sent it to her, and she's like, "Someone's bringing you some dry ass bone." She's like, "That's when everything first went down," and it was literally, I could go back and screenshot that it was just sent to me like 3 days ago.
Yeah, it was back when everything first started, but the fact that you didn't see it until way after, it doesn't mean that you still can't have a feeling about it or react to it. Or it doesn't mean that I can be like, oh my God, it was so long ago. No, it still happened. Whenever you first seen it, you're allowed to have that response and that conversation.
But when she said it, happened way back then, it was like, oh, okay, whatever. Because at that point, my feeling is this: we've already talked. Things are fine. Like, why flip over, that old rock? But when, as you know, because you and I have had very extensive conversation off this app, when it comes to my children, like, I'm not going to budge on that. My kids I've kept them very clear of any TikTok bullshit and drama. We've had people show up at our house. You know, we've dealt with all that shit. Like, no. Nope.
No, back when it first happened, yeah, I said that to take a jab at you. It was very malicious. It was intended to be malicious, the way I said it. 100%.
Oh. Well, I got it like 6 months later.
Yeah. I'm not going to deny it was intended to be malicious, and I couldn't even tell you a reason why. Couldn't even tell you why.
I think it was because you were pissed off about that. I'm not gonna open that back up on this app because
there was a lot going on, and that's why I couldn't tell you why. But I do accept responsibility and admit fully that when I said that, it was malicious, like 100% of the way. And I don't know if I said anything after. I don't think I did. But I know it never went anywhere.
Yeah, no, because I'll be honest, Chris was sitting in a live. I'm trying to think if it was yours. This was after I got back home from going, you know where I went. And you were in a box, and somehow my name got brought up. And I remember for a while there, he wouldn't even get on the app. Like if I was out here and like out in the living room, he wouldn't get on anywhere near me. And he was on scrolling that night, and we were in the same room, and I heard you say, I actually like OG. I have no problems with OG. Like if she was to call me tomorrow or today or whatever you had said, you know, I'd be there for her. And I was like, well, that's weird. Just because of, you know, everything that like had happened, which nothing really had happened. I think and you can correct me if I'm wrong, my perception would have been the fact that I think everything was just thrown at you. And it was a whole lot of shit flying your way in the aspect of like everybody expects you to fix everything all the time.
No. So I will disagree with that. I'll be completely honest. I don't think anybody expects me to fix things, because there was plenty of times in that whole like initial thing with Bougie where she was seeing me take heat just for associating with her, and she was like, "You know, you don't have to do this." But no, I don't have to do it, but I want to do it. So anytime I do something, it's the right thing. So I don't find anybody expects me to do anything. Sometimes it takes me a while to process it. So I might take something the wrong way and then not have a conversation with that person. And then I have to figure it out for myself when it could be solved if I would have just had a conversation with that person. But then part of me is like, well, if I have a conversation with him now, I don't want to yell at him. I don't want to be mean to him. So I avoid the conversation. Then days go on and I continue to avoid the conversation because it's been so long. And it's something that I have to work on and recognize when it happens instead of afterwards. So that's probably why the anger was there initially, then later it wasn't, because I had worked through it. I realized I was the one that was being a bitch about it.
So expect was probably the wrong word. More so people come to you or talk to you about everything. I will agree. You were the bitch about it, for sure. Because had you just talked to me, because I was left confused as fuck, which was fine. I figured you would. I knew you had a lot of shit on your plate at that time from everybody. And you were catching a lot of heat with Bougie.
There's no excuse. So no matter how much stuff people have on their plate, it shouldn't be taken out on one person, or like it shouldn't be, the anger shouldn't be directed one way. So that's no excuse for anything that was going on with me. You know, it's got to be like, I fucked up. No matter the situation, no matter the circumstances, no matter what was going on, that situation was wrong. And that's something that I have to work on in the moment. But recognizing it will help me for the next moment.
Right.
But yeah, no excuses. No, a lot going on. No matter what was going on, I should have handled the situation better with everybody involved instead of handling it the way I did.
Yeah. It was definitely confusing, but no, I'm gonna go on to bed, but I did see, like I said, I was scrolling and at first I did not think you were actually live, and then when I clicked on it, I was like, oh shit, this isn't actually live. Yeah, and I agree with that, Monster. There's a certain specific situation that I know that Florida Man had the conversation with the other party, and that I'll tell you about that off the app. Because quite frankly, I think one of the last conversations you and I had when you messaged me, Florida Man, about somebody else, and then we had talked on the phone, and I was like, if I come back to that app, I'm just going to be vile as fuck. Like, I don't care anymore.
That's what the app drives you to. And I took weeks off. Like I did, I took weeks off, disconnected completely. And then I came back, and I'm like, it's still gross.
Yep.
Still gross. Then I did like a week of the old behavior. And then I disappeared for like a week or two. And I'm like, okay. And I came back with a new idea. Why do I care about what people say when I know I don't care if they like me? The disassociation is fine. As people, like, we walk down the street and we see people that we would never associate with. Why can't it be the same way on the internet? Because they use people like me, Monster, you, as content to reach people, to get people all up in arms. When Dora was like, what about the puppies? That was to incite people because people like dogs. It's weird.
What about puppies?
Yeah, whatever that situation was, the weird ass situation that everybody kept bringing up. I can't remember all of the situations that everybody tried to twist about Joan, but I do know that every single time somebody brought some shit up, you had receipts. I'm like, there you go. So that's why I believe her. Like, I don't even have all these receipts, but she pulls them up out of nowhere immediately. Can't tell me she makes them up, and then they try. It's all of that. What we were doing was participating in their show. Because let me tell you, the people that were calling you out on whatever bullshit gave no fuck about the content. They just didn't like you.
Right.
They wanted to use you as a way to be like, this is content. I can get attention for this. And I refuse to participate in that. You know, I'll provoke Smashley by calling her boring, which I don't know why that provoked her, but it did. And then turn around and come back live and say she took the step-by-step approach that I gave everybody right before I called her boring. And I know she didn't listen to it because she only watches 10 seconds of a live. Cool. It's setting an example. Negative information travels 6 times faster. Like a lie will travel 6 times faster than the truth. But people are shitting on me anyways, so why not put the truth out there? And eventually, people might be able to take 5 minutes when somebody like Smashley says somebody's gonna come to my house or whatever the fuck she lied about tonight, instead of on the spot reacting. Nobody watching anybody owes the person they're watching anything, actually, at all. No likes, no gifts, no nothing, no service. Don't do stuff for people on TikTok that are live. They will manipulate you. That is the message. Because if for a second anybody has an idea that Smashley cares about the people in her chat, I'll have a conversation with them. I would like to hear why, and I'll be open to it.
Yeah, I can say she doesn't give a shit about the people in her chat. I mean, hell, she'll allow her kids to call you auntie, and then the next day throw you under the bus and put that bitch in reverse and run over you again. So
public opinion is kind of like a poison. You know, it gets in your head, and you're like, I want the numbers because you want to be famous. I don't want to be famous. I'm okay with 40 or 50 people, however many people's in here. I'm good with that. I don't change whether 1,500 people or 10 people.
Nope.
It is what it is. And that's how everybody should be. Don't manipulate the people that watch you into attacking people. I do got to ask you a question now. Anybody that ever went after you or talked shit about you, or like when say if someone would bring something up and be like, "OG did this," did anybody ever DM you and ask you?
Ask me about it?
Yeah.
I think one, maybe two.
So one, maybe two people out of all the times and all the platforms that have talked shit about you, one, maybe two people DM'd you.
Like, people that watched it, yeah. Yep. One, maybe two actually came to me and said, okay, so they're saying X, Y, and Z about you, but I know that you always have, like, receipts and shit. Will you answer some questions? And I'm like, sure.
How many people would you say talk shit about you?
Everybody on the fucking app.
Hundreds?
Yeah. Yep.
But that's another part of the problem, too. Out of all the people that talk shit about you, one, maybe two, did their own independent research by contacting you to get your side. Everybody else just went along with it and said, fuck it.
Yep.
That right there is a problem. And it's the problem that I'm trying to point out.
I mean, hell, look at Smashly, Florida Man. That Smashly, of all people, shocked me because she had, I FaceTime with her. I screen shared with her. She had everything. Everything. She's seen everything. And instead of getting in a box on Petty's live and being like, hold up, Petty, like, this shit ain't true. I seen it for myself. She sat back and stayed quiet because, as she said in the live just a couple weeks ago, she didn't want Petty to turn on her.
Yeah. That is all the behavior, all the, differing morals at differing times to suit one's own need. All of that's documented by somebody. It's out there. That they'll use it against her one day. I won't. I won't use it against her. I want the forward behavior to be addressed. I want moving forward, because in the past, we can't change it. Cool, whatever. It happened. We lived. We're not happy about it. But the behavior that I'm pointing out is the forward behavior. That's a good point about, the changing of opinions. But it leads back into pulling stuff from the past and then holding people, back. She knows she did that. You know she did that. Can't take it back. It happened. Now, moving forward, how is this situation going to get fixed for anybody else that may face it? And that's what pointing the behavior out is trying to do. If we look at it and say, all right, we've all been shitty in the past, maybe some more than others, me, Smashly, other than that, how do we fix going forward? Because this app loves to talk about the past, but nobody ever wants to talk about moving forward.
Some of the people on this app are like just legit stuck in the past. I mean, well, you know what? I can bring him up because he was my friend. Look at Hair Junkie. You, and I don't know if you want people to know this or not, but I'm gonna put it out there.
Yeah.
Everybody wanted you to be against him so bad. And you asked me, OG, I believe Hair Junkie is a good guy, and I just need to have a conversation with him. And you did that instead of going with the masses of disliking him and talking shit about him. You wanted to talk to him yourself, and he ended up adoring you. But when everybody else was ready to throw him to the wolves, you were like, no.
I remember the specific conversation I had with you. I was like, you should probably disassociate from all the bad people. And I said, Hair Junkie's not one of the bad people. Because the way I explained it to you is I saw what he said, but I saw who he was sitting with. And I gave him the benefit of the doubt that he was just saying it to fit in. And I've said it before, Hair Junkie's one of the few people that I've talked to that actually understood where I was coming from and actually did his own research and actually progressed forward. And that's why I never, ever talk shit about him after I had the conversation with him. I had disagreements with him, sure, but it wasn't anything to have a blow up beef about, because you can talk to people. But yeah, no, talking to people is good, but the consistency is good too, because I will do it with some people, but I won't do it with other people. And pointing out the good, the bad has to be pointed out too. Like when I didn't have a conversation with you, that has to be addressed. I have to work on that. It's progress. Not 100% perfection is expected from anybody, but being able to sit and talk openly about where you may have lacked is healthy for anybody like Smashley to step back and say, all right, I get it. This is where I was lacking and this is where I could have done better. There's nothing I can do to change it except for moving forward.
That's true. Alright, I'm gonna drop. I might pop on tomorrow if you guys are gonna be on, but I need to take my ass to bed. I'm old.
I'll be live a little bit later today because the behavior of Smashley and the steps that she took were the exact steps that I laid out of people who want to manipulate their viewers. And I'm going to talk more about that. But this live was really just to say, look at her being mad and look at me being normal. Don't have to worry about anything. What'd you say?
I missed all that, so I don't know what happened tonight, but I know what you've told me, and it doesn't surprise me. It doesn't, but... Alright, I'll try to catch you later when you're on, Monster. I love your face. And I will talk to you guys tomorrow.
Have a good night.
You too.
Right, Monster? I disagree with you on Dora. But again, I would not disagree with you on Dora if Dora would have a genuine conversation. I don't know if I have anything against T. I don't know. Because part of me is like, is it the association with Dora? And another part of me is like, so I leave T out of it. Because I don't know, I can't differentiate if it's just my feelings because of their association. So I don't want to I don't know. Right, Mush. We try to be an example. I fuck that up sometimes. I am not a good example sometimes. I get a little carried away. And that is totally cool, Monster. I'm not going to judge you for anything because you can see people from a different perspective than anybody else. I see from one way, and the thing about that is there's a negative lens on it. Conversation does remove that, but having that negative lens changes your perception on people. And you don't have that, and I'm not trying to give it to you. If you like Dora, if anybody likes Dora, I encourage you to keep liking Dora. If Dora does something that doesn't sit right with you, try to have a conversation with her. Hopefully it works. Existing isn't about taking people away from everybody or trying to take everything away from everybody. It's weird. And it's kind of gross. Not everybody's gonna like everybody, and if you don't like somebody, you gotta word it right. It's not that I don't like Dora as a person. I just don't like some of her actions. I don't like the secrecy. I don't like the not being open. What does Dora owe me to be open? Nothing. She doesn't have to. But it creates that opinion. And then as I'm allowed to express that opinion, I should express that opinion with the contingency that I'm just getting it out so I feel better. Maybe somebody like Monster could be like, hey, I noticed Florida Man had something, wasn't too cool with Dora. Maybe she can go be like, hey, Dora, why don't you talk to him? Doesn't have to be public, it could be private. But I encourage everybody that if you like Dora, continue. Because it's kind of weird to try to strip people away from people. Doesn't do any good for anybody. It makes you look greedy, honestly. Like when Smashley, she attacked Explain and Ambi for being in my box. They didn't say anything, yet she still talked shit about them, which was weird. Yeah, I've never talked shit about anybody in Smashley's box when me and her were going back and forth before. It's not my style. It shows who's in the wrong this time. As I was in the wrong the last 2 times, I just don't believe I'm in the wrong this time. It does mush. It brings so many more people's feelings into it, and it makes people feel like they have to choose when they don't. You can be perfectly fine liking 2 people that aren't a fan of each other. And hopefully those 2 people that don't like each other hope for the best of your relationship with the other one. Like, it's not malicious. Not agreeing with somebody doesn't have to be malicious. You may have, Jesse. And it actually works for both situations about attacking people in boxes. That's how you create never-ending beefs, because all the feelings get hurt. Then you gotta when you want to fix it, instead of fixing it with one person, you gotta fix it with 50. When you rally your whole platform against people, you've created a situation that the other side can't get out of, because I don't know what I did to these 150 people over here. They just don't like me because I told the truth about this person. Cool. People don't have to like me. Oh, hey, Outlaw. Yeah, I don't agree with that. Like, you should be able to express your opinion and be respected, even if it's not favorable to you. People can have their opinion about me, and I respect it. And there's a lot of Smashley? I called her boring. That's enough for the temper tantrum. I think what it was she took maybe she might have took in some of the behavior traits and took it personally. I did have her name up being like, I'll teach you how to be just like these creators. I did do that, but it wasn't up for long. But it was true. I stand on that. When it's happened to Indian Outlaw as a good example. Again, another example of people lying, people sensationalizing something that the vast majority of the people wouldn't like, as an excuse to make a judgment, without any critical thinking, to attack. If any of those people would have took 5 minutes before making the decision to attack, if they would have messaged, they would have got a lot further. They would have been informed, myself included, because I did the same thing. I went after Indian Outlaw without all of the information. Then when I finally messaged Indian Outlaw, he was an asshole to me. And I accepted it because I deserved it. Like, I wasn't mad at him for continuing to be an asshole to me because I fucking deserved it. Like, I talk so much shit about him. Like, I get it. You have to allow people to feel how they feel and accept it. And Petty's House of Lies is the biggest reason, the reason actually, that I did message Indian Outlaw. Because they're the ones that told me that you actually did have your DD-214. And I was like, huh, what? That was a failure on my part to not go for that information, to not go to you, to not look at your page even. Because they told me he hasn't posted. And I'll be damned if I never looked at your videos. So, is it embarrassing? No. No, it's a good example of maybe better research is needed by people, and don't jump to conclusions. Don't jump to just attack people. Yep. That's a failure on my part for not inquiring about it and just acting off of impulse. If people could see that they do it too, they would see that it feels a lot better to be able to admit it. You don't lose anything. You don't really gain anything either. It's just you are being who you are and you're admitting it. Oh, you're good. And I know I'm going to tell you what like people are going to say, like Smashley. She's going to be like, well, he's only saying that so he can look better. And no, I guarantee you, give it enough time, I will tell somebody to go fuck themselves. I'll make a meme about somebody and make fun of them. Give it enough time, it will happen again. Full transparency. But that's moving forward. What's Smashley going to do moving forward? Get on live tomorrow and cry? If I were her, I would get on live tomorrow and green screen the effects of mixing kratom with alcohol. That's what I would do. Because she should look that up. I'm not against people taking kratom. Whatever helps them. But you have to watch mixing and interactions and all that. And I'm not even bashing her for drinking. Drink all you want. You're an adult. But is it causing problems? Is it causing her to be angry? It's all things that she has to look at for herself and, decide, is it a problem? Is it affecting my behavior on the internet? Is it making me unreasonable to try to turn an entire platform against one person for calling you boring? And I stand on that. Her content is boring. Tonight, more so than any other night. Weak attacks. Unbelievably boring. Right. It's not so hidden. And the fact that people are going to be like, well, that's addict shaming. No. It's pointing something out. It's pointing out maybe she needs to look at that. I'm not shaming her for drinking. Do what you want. Actually complimented her on the kratom. If it's keeping you off of other substances, that's wonderful. Just watch the interactions. Because if you look up the interactions between kratom and alcohol, I would much rather see Smashley on kratom to keep her off any other substance than to see her go through the interactions of alcohol and kratom. It's a concern, not a shame. She's going to hear it because somebody's going to clip it and send it, but they're not going to send the "it's a concern" part, even though they should. But that's also the people that she surrounds herself with. It's people that want to feed negative information, clip certain parts, and rile her up for their own entertainment. I got people that do that with me. I just don't feed into it. I have it before, of course. But good morning, Bills. Yeah. And I looked that up too, because I came prepared to argue quite a few points with all of them, from Holly Nader, Ratina to Petty to all that, just in case any of them decided to get into a box. Even though, statistically speaking, none of them would. But I wasn't going to be unprepared, just in case one of them did. I was hoping someone did. Have a good day, Outlaw. No, I've been live most of the night. As an example, to show Smashley that no matter what she says, life goes on, and that her opinion holds no weight with me. Is it petty? Yeah, it is. It's purposeful, though. I was hoping, yeah. Because like I said in my live earlier, I liked to argue with Regina, like to argue the points and shit. Regina can debate. She can talk. She can have a good argument. She can hold a good argument. It falls apart when she says that if you're intoxicated, it's not SA. Everything falls apart with that. But that doesn't mean I wouldn't be willing to have a conversation with her about that. If she had an open mind and at least the ability to hear me and think about it later. I would like to talk to Petty one-on-one in the box. Uninterrupted, no mute, no 6 people jumping up. He says something, I say something, ask questions back and forth. That would be nice. Holly Mae, same thing. Dora, same thing. I'm not objected to a conversation with anybody that I'm not a fan of. I actually want those conversations with the people that I'm not a fan of, because it shows both of our abilities to grow. And it looks really bad, whether they know it and ignore it, or they don't see it, that they're not open to having a conversation. It would be cool. I'd have a conversation with Smashley one-on-one. It's okay. But there are rules. Don't get mad. Don't feel personally attacked. Don't deflect. Don't personally attack the other person. Listen and give time to respond. Make your points one point at a time. The conversation doesn't have to be, 2 minutes long. There should be no rush to, quote, win the argument. If the conversation lasted an hour, everybody would win. All the people watching would win. I know most of them won't. But see, my idea of conversation has always been, don't devalue the other person's opinion, even if you don't agree with it. You always want to oppose that opinion with the strongest form of the other person's opinion. So if they misspeak or they don't quite say something right, don't use that against them. Present their argument as strong as you can, because it's the fair thing to do. Like when I was in Friends with Ash, that's exactly how conversations should go, except for the loud part, which it's okay. People get emotional, but agree that that's your opinion and validate the fact that it's okay to have that opinion. You can be right. I can be right. Two people can be right about the same topic, but have a differing opinion. Because maybe not all the information's out there. Maybe we think different. Maybe we just see things different. Nobody has to be wrong. In certain circumstances, I will say that Rachina's "if you're intoxicated, it's not SA." Absolutely, that someone I stand firm on. That's wrong. Yes, the rage quitting the conversation, but that is both parties' fault sometimes. When people are like up in a box and trying to talk and they get muted, and then they don't get the chance to speak and people yell over them, that derails the conversation. A lot of the times that's how conversations go on TikTok, and they don't have to go that way. 100% guarantee that if Petty hopped up in a box right now, I would not be mean to him. I would not say things that would embarrass him. I would just have questions, and he would have questions. I wouldn't bring up topics that he wasn't ready to talk about, because that's also another reason why conversations derail, because sometimes people just aren't ready to talk about it. But it's a start. Got to start somewhere. People focus on winning, like the argument, too much. And you win if you learn something. Either way. Even if you're wrong, I'll be wrong. Tell me why. That's all anybody has to do is articulate a reason why I'm wrong and let me respond. I'll listen to you. You listen to me. We can talk about it back and forth. I don't have to agree with you at the end of it. You don't have to agree with me at the end of it, but we can respect one another for being able to do it. It is. It is. I think more conversation needs to happen. I think people need to start paying attention to the people who don't want that conversation to happen. To all the people that feel like they can't have a conversation because they can't be wrong, you might want to reevaluate that. Like, see why. Ask yourself why. Here's a good practice. If you have a strong opinion about whatever topic, write down an argument that's just as strong against it. Are you able to do that? If you're not able to do that, then you've not heard enough of the opposing opinion. If you can't argue what you believe with reasoning from opposing opinions of what you don't believe yourself, and you can't be open-minded enough to do that, it's very good to practice that and to be able to do that. Yeah, mush, they do get defensive super quick. But that's natural too, because I'll be honest, when people get defensive like that real quick, it's the environment that they're in. Like, it's an uncomfortable environment. There's nothing being done to make them comfortable. It's not being said that, hey, if they get into a box, don't shit talk them. As an example, if Petty were to get into a box, I would hope everybody would respect me enough to not bash him while we were having the conversation to try to not derail the conversation, people would respect me enough to allow the conversation to happen because they want to see it too. Share it to Betty. People want to see these conversations, but you have to go into it with the mindset of, I'm okay with being wrong. I don't need to be right. I just need to see where you're at. Like, honestly need to see where you're at with this. And then from there, less confusion. The statesman, yeah. And that's okay. I don't watch Betty's content at all. And I do that out of protest because we've not had a conversation one-on-one that would be productive. I feel like people think that I'm going to make them look bad. That's not the case. I'm not going to purposefully make people look bad. If you feel like having a conversation with somebody is going to make you look bad, you're wrong. Or you're afraid to say your real opinion because of public backlash. But it's okay to say your real opinion. I think he's trying to code everybody's name so he can be like, I ain't talking about nobody. But everybody knows. It's a weak move. But that's him. But it is 6 o'clock in the morning. I've got to be somewhere in an hour. I will see everybody later on tonight. I'll be live sometime 8 or 9, something like that. If anybody talks shit, I don't care. I'll be live to talk about whatever I'm going to talk about, probably Smashley's behavior. And if Smashley wants a box later, she's more than welcome to one. Just don't be a dick. Just remember, calm. It ain't about winning. It ain't about showing dominance. It's about understanding. I might not get some rest. Maybe a nap. But I will see everybody later.